moment. But this coming week ahead, it does start. There is just one game in midweek, and it is the Carabao. And I was going to ask you about this. Is there a press conference? I was wondering if he was going to, the way Jurgen Klopp couldn't be bothered basically at the end with it and send Pep Linders. Are we going to see Van Bronckhorst? Is there even a press conference for this one?
No press conference today. So they're basically, I think they're going to send some quotes around, although I've not actually had them. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. But no press conference for this one. I think it's just because I don't know. I don't actually know how they don't have a kind of, they're not compelled to do one for some reason, but apparently they're not. So there's no press conference to get anything out of today, unfortunately.
There you go. So we'll see if any quotes or anything develop. Although I suppose after this game, Arne Slot, he was pretty open with his hand to Southampton, wasn't he? He did say Big Five would be rested, as in the ones who played the 90 minutes. Virgil, Ibu, Ryan Gravenberch, Mo Salah and Dominic Szoboszlai would not be part of it. He was quite open with that. Truth be told, a lot of fans would want even more to have the night off, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a completely changed 11, to be honest. I'd be surprised if there's anyone who's kind of played a big role in this start to the season won't be involved, really. I think there'll be quite a fefew kids on the bench. But I'm actually really excited for this game, really looking forward to it, because I think it's going to be a really interesting team. You think even with all the changes you can make, I still think it's going to be strong, but loads of players who, we'll get a glimpse of that we're looking forward to. So, you can almost go through the team. So we get to see a bit of Mamardashvili, which I'm looking forward to. And, I think Frimpong maybe come back in at right back. Then you go Gomez, Leone. So really looking forward to seeing Leone. Obviously like seeing Gomez play. At left back, Andy Robertson coming back into captain. And then in midfield, probably, wholesale changes. So we like to see a bit of Endo, don't we? Curtis Jones, maybe Trey Naoni. Up front, Chiesa will be involved, no doubt. Maybe an Isak start, which would be great and good for him. And then Rio Ngamoa. So, if that's the starting 11, that's really strong. But also, loads of great stories in there and things to get stuck into and loads of players. We want to see Naoni play well. I want to see Leone, see learn a bit about him, see Mamardashvili for the first time in a competitive game. So, and always exciting to see Ngamoa as well. So loads really to get stuck into. So I'm very much looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be interesting.
It could be so interesting, the lineup, and I suppose it's the two things that are sort of pressing for a lot of people. You mentioned there, Isak and Wirtz were on the bench, obviously, for the derby. So people, and McAllister started, was rested. Do you think we will see any of the big three? I know you mentioned you think Isak will start there. Wirtz and Maka getting serious minutes potentially?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm reeling off the team there and haven't put Wirtz in it. But as you say, he doesn't play very much against Everton. And I think, opportunities for rhythm, the manager's big on that. There's been times, wasn't there, when in the League Cup where he played a player, you kind of thought, what's that about? But it was about rhythm and keeping them going. So for Wirtz, who, he's had a game off there basically against Everton, maybe he does come back in and that kind of would make sense, which again, you're putting Wirtz and Isak in the same team in a League Cup game. That's pretty strong, isn't it? So, like I say, I think it's going to be an exciting team and one that, even with a few changes in it, is going to be very, very strong. So I'm looking forward to that. And if Wirtz can get a goal or an assist, that'd be nice for him as well in terms of his confidence. So, really looking forward to seeing the starting 11.
It will be fascinating. And we talk about youngsters because we already know them as well in Rio and Ngamoa. Trey Naoni, won't be surprised if he started at all. Yesterday the under-21s had United, didn't they, at the academy? And it was interesting that no Kieran Morrison, no Tommy Pillin, no Jayden Dans either. Think they've got a chance because I think obviously like someone like Kieran Morrison, he was linked with a move away, wasn't he, to quite a few clubs? And I just wonder, is this a chance for some of these, so to speak?
Yeah, I think you'll see them all on the bench, to be honest. I think that, Gravenberch just won't be in the squad. I don't think Van Dijk will be in the squad. I think there's going to be gaps in the squad that need to be filled. And albeit saying about it being a strong starting 11, I think the bench is going to be kind of packed out with youngsters. And these clearly are going to be in line to do that. I'm really pleased for Dan's, because I always hope he gets on the pitch. I really like him. And as you say with Kieran Morrison, it's maybe Liverpool saying, look, there are opportunities here. You don't need to kind of move on. And Tommy Pillon's another good young player. So, looks like they will be involved, which I think it makes sense. And, if Liverpool can get themselves in a good position in the game, it'll be nice to get them on the pitch if possible.
Yeah, honestly, it's so hard to predict certain bits of this. And I suppose that I know the official line is going to be Liverpool want to win everything and will be competitive. If you were to give Arne Slot truth serum, do you think he would go give it Southampton? We've got the Champions League and the Premier League to concentrate on.
No, I think he'll want to go through in this, because I think you can't foresee situations where Leone gets minutes, for example, if they're not in this competition. And you need to keep your squad happy, really, because that's tough to do over a long season, and particularly last season. I mean, that's why some of the players had to move on. For Harvey Elliott, for example, he wanted to move on because he wasn't getting enough minutes. And you think, for someone like Leone who you have to develop, or someone like Trey Neone similarly, or Rio Ngamoa who will get Premier League and Champions League minutes, don't get me wrong, but these are the big opportunities for them to get them. You need to stay in this competition, really. So I'm quite hopeful Liverpool can go on a run in this, because I think it's important for keeping the squad happy, but also developing those young players as well.
Yeah, maybe that does come into the mix. There is, Chiesa missed out again, didn't he, completely on the weekend? So you've got to give him some game time somewhere. And I suppose with this, he may well want to win it to keep in. But there's a hell of a week coming up afterwards, isn't there, where it's 3 away. I mean, Palace away, the only other unbeaten team in the Premier League. Galatasaray, I mean, we all remember the welcome to hell banners and everything there, followed by Chelsea away on the Saturday night in the Premier League at 5:30. Is there, some might get minutes, but nothing will be risked at all? Is that a fair assessment of this?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be careful. Like, we're talking about Wirtz and Isak being used, but it'll be very kind of managed with what, and I think regardless of scoreline, they'll be coming off on the hour mark, and, someone else will be coming in to take the place. I think they'll be very, very kind of careful about that and not throwing too much at it. But it's equally, to not use Isak would be a risk in this one, because you need to get him fit. And so this is a perfect opportunity to do it. And I think also, with Wirtz, he can still be in your starting 11 for Palace, because it's Tuesday to Saturday, which is a much nicer break for Liverpool. So, that kind of works out quite nicely. And then obviously, they're going Tuesday, Saturday again. So the Tuesdays to the Saturdays aren't too bad at all, I think. So it's worked out quite nicely for Liverpool, really. And again, that's a tough one at the weekend, I think. And Liverpool, I think you're going to see Slot put out whatever he thinks is his best 11 in that one, because Palace are flying, and even Liverpool seem to have a good record at Selhurst Park, but
true,
they seem to win by the odd goal every single time, and loads of them have come in the last minute for some reason. So, this is a really, really tricky game. So I think, we can see some first teamers in this League Cup game, but I think all the tension will be on making sure that the squad is primed for that game at the weekend, because it's a really, really tough one. So, one where I actually genuinely would probably shake hands on a draw right now, to be honest. So, I don't think we'll be kind of seeing. We won't see Salah on the bench, for example, to be coming on to try and win the game late on, because I just think it's the Premier League's a clear priority. But I think Liverpool will be strong enough to win it anyway.
Yeah, fingers crossed on all of those things. And we haven't really touched upon this, but as we go into the Carabao, because sometimes you've had to, like you say, manage things and, take the context of everything else that's going on. It shouldn't be ignored that with other teams, injuries and different bits, Arne Slot said it at the press conference you were at on Friday as well. He had 21 players to pick from. Everyone was essentially fit, wasn't it? Just that could be the work of Ruben Peters and the various teams there. That could just be pivotal to this season already, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's massive. You cannot underrate how important that is. And it was a key factor in Liverpool winning the Premier League last season. Their availability versus Arsenal's, along with the fact that Arsenal couldn't score for Toffee and their expected goals was so low. But I think and Liverpool were the better side, but availability is massive, and to have that, for a squad that wants to have a tilt at all 4 competitions, even things like kind of Bradley's missed a couple of games, but it's never turned into anything worse. Frimpong got a hamstring injury, and yet they managed to just minimise that to a couple of games. So they're really looking after these players, and it's through kind of, they're very liberal in the use of days off with the players, definitely more so than the previous regime. Little things like what the manager said in his last press conference about training later in the day to give the players a little bit of a lie-in so they could have more rest in 3 games in 6 days. They're very, very clever with how they do this, and they reap the rewards constantly in terms of the availability of the players. And I think it's just a massive factor in why Liverpool are so good at the moment. So, long may that continue.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. And to continue the positive vibe, to finish on the final question, expect us to go through against Southampton tomorrow night?
Yeah, I would think so. I think even with the changes, Liverpool should be strong enough. I'm not sure what kind of team that Southampton will name either. So, I'm pretty confident Liverpool will go through.
And that would just be a continuation of the perfect season so far. So there we go, ladies and gents. Derby bragging rights, 5 out of 5. Other teams dropping points. Things looking decent off the field. There is not really too much to complain about, although there is a heck of a week coming up, so we'll see what that brings. All that leaves me to say as ever is, for the time, the insight, and for answering all the questions, David, it is massively appreciated as ever.
Thanks for having me.
And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters for Anfield Index.